Private investigators are often depicted in the movies, TV shows, and books as these characters who possess extraordinary skills, knowledge, and an arsenal of tools that help them solve mysteries every day. And those skills, tools, and knowledge are seemingly beyond the reach of everyday people like you. But is this true? Do private investigators really have superpowers, and are there things that they can do that most people can't? I am here to tell you firsthand that the life of a private investigator, while it can be pretty exciting at times, is nowhere close to the glamorous lives depicted by Hollywood. That said, I am also here to tell you there are certain skills, tools, and knowledge that most private investigators do possess that ordinary people don't. The most common skill is the ability to conduct surveillance covertly, safely, and effectively. Now, that is not to say you can't go out and sit in your car and do surveillance yourself. Obviously, anyone can do that. There are no laws out there that say only private investigators can conduct surveillance. After all, the public streets and roads are, well, public. So anyone can just sit in their car and watch someone. But there are boundaries that need to be taken into account when conducting surveillance. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. And most private investigators understand these boundaries and adhere to them to ensure the integrity of their investigations. One of those boundaries is ensuring the reasonable expectation of privacy of the individual being surveilled. One example of this is not sticking a camera over or even looking over a privacy fence. I mean, after all, it is a privacy fence. Here is one that most people do not know. You cannot shoot video through a residential window. Yep, you, me, everyone has a reasonable expectation of privacy while inside our homes. Most private investigators have a great deal of knowledge regarding what they can and can't do while conducting surveillance because of their training and licensing. What things do you think a PI should not be able to do while conducting surveillance? Let me know in the comments below. Another thing that PIs possess that helps them conduct surveillance that most people do not have is all of the surveillance gear and equipment. They have video cameras, hidden cameras, covert cameras, and all kinds of other gadgets, and they have the necessary training and experience that allows them to use this equipment in the most effective way. Obviously, you could buy many of these tools and gadgets, but gaining that experience is difficult and time-consuming. There are some training courses you can take. In fact, I have a lot of videos on this channel about conducting surveillance, but most PIs get most of their training OJT, or on-the-job style, meaning they know what to do and what not to do because they have spent years and hundreds of hours doing surveillance. Some skills can only be obtained from practice and doing it over and over and over again. Another thing that PIs can do is locating people, or what is often referred to as skip tracing. Again, you or anyone else for that matter may be able to do some sleuthing on the internet using some free resources and sites and come up with limited information on people. I also have videos on the channel about many of those free databases that private investigators use, and you can use them too. They do have very limited data in them though. One of those limitations is the freshness of the data, or how current the information is. Private investigators have access to specialized databases with much more up-to-date data. And you have to be a private investigator to access these sites due to the amount of information that is available. These specialized PI databases include information like current and past addresses and phone numbers, vehicle information including license plates, purchase information and lien holders, property information like purchase dates, amounts, loan holders and aliases, dates of birth, social security numbers, and more. But access to that data only goes so far. You have to know how to use that information, cross-correlate that data, vet the data for accuracy, and turn it into leads to find more information. And that knowledge comes again from training and years of experience. Background checks are another thing PIs can do that the average Joe can't do. Now, there are plenty of websites out there where just about anyone can go and get a background on someone. But these sites, much like those free search sites that I mentioned, have huge limitations. The biggest of those limitations, again, is freshness of the data. Most have old stuff in them. In fact, I have seen some backgrounds from these sites that were missing serious criminal information on a subject from 5 or more years ago. These sites also do nothing to verify their data, where a private investigator should verify every piece of information they find on their subject, as even those super secret PI databases can have errors in them. A PI should also be able to guide a client as to the legalities involved in what information can and cannot be used from a background check when considering things that the FCRA or GLBA limits. Those online sites that sell backgrounds for $20 or $30 just have a disclaimer that you agree to, saying you will not use it in violation of those laws, but they never tell you what those limitations are. Private investigators can also obtain information regarding assets, which is something not most people can do. Some of this information is gathered through those PI databases like real estate and vehicles, but they can also find many other assets like boats, airplanes, businesses, and even financial data like bank account information. Not all of these assets are easy to find, and not all PIs can do these searches themselves, but most will have a network of colleagues they can call on when the need arises for these specialized investigations. Gathering evidence for criminal and civil matters is another thing that PIs can do. While most people may be able to do it somewhat, the PI will have the required training and knowledge to perform these tasks. I am talking about things like taking scene photos for an investigation. The method and process for this will vary a bit depending on the scene type. If it is a criminal investigation, there could be huge limitations regarding when and how the scene could be accessed. If it's an accident investigation, then there are safety concerns and specialized tools for measuring and evaluating the area and vehicles in detail. Most people also are not aware that what a private investigator can do that an average citizen cannot do is tied to their PI licensing. Most states require private investigators to be licensed. They must undergo a strict background check to obtain that license, usually conducted by the State Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Private investigators also have to take some level of testing in most states during their licensing process. That testing often includes their knowledge of the laws and regulations of being a private investigator. In some states, it may even cover the understanding of how to conduct specific investigations. And here is the biggest secret of all. Most PI licensing dictates that only a licensed private investigator can refer to themselves or advertise themselves as a private investigator if they hold a private investigator license.